Residential areas, people are freezing. My house is 37 degrees inside.
They're not putting out any information on, what the actual status is, except we're working on it, basically.
It kind of came back on and then went back out.
Yesterday, I began shivering. I got scared. I got worried, the survival.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us for KVUE News at 6. I'm Brian Mays.
I'm Terry Gruca, along with Chief Meteorologist Erica Lopez. Erica, we are not in the clear yet. There is some light, though, at the end of the tunnel.
That's right. We're talking about a warm-up headed our way after we get through the final round of frozen precipitation that's pushing through late tonight into the majority of the day tomorrow. But wanted to start off with the current conditions outside right now, but still snow-covered grounds. On top of that, another layer of ice from the freezing rain we had overnight. Temperatures at 31 degrees. You notice most of the data is not even showing on this graphic. That's because we haven't been able to collect data most of the day out at Camp Mabry because of the fact of snow and ice bringing issues to that site. And as far as our highs go, the National Weather Service is telling us that we did hit a high of 32 degrees at Camp Mabry and at the airport. So that means officially we still stay at freezing. And we're going to continue to drop from here on out. Temperatures will drop to the 30s and 20s tonight. I think we're done with the teens for our overnight lows. But we're not done with the frozen precipitation. That's why we're still under a winter storm warning and a winter weather advisory. That's in effect through tomorrow evening for accumulation of up to an inch that will be possible. South of Austin will have greater snowfall accumulation. 1 to 3 inches is what we're expecting. So again, overnight tonight into tomorrow is when we're tracking the majority of that snow threat. I'm going to walk us through the timeline and the full forecast hour by hour, let you know how it's all going to play out, and also talk about the warm-up that's headed our way in the weekend. But don't forget to download our weather app. You can keep track of the weather no matter where you are. It's free in your phone app stores. Just search for KVUE.
Erica, we will see you again in just a few minutes. A tragedy in East Austin early this morning. 2 people killed. 4 others were hurt in a house fire.
Firefighters were called out just after 11 this morning to a home on East 12th Street. And that's where we find KVUE's Mari Salazar. Mari, any idea what caused this deadly fire?
Terry, Brian, that's what they're trying to investigate right now, but they know 2 things. They don't think that it was foul play, and there was no power inside this home when they got here. Austin Fire says they're trying to figure out if it was a group of people trying to start a fire to stay warm inside of this home because of the freezing weather. AFD says when they got to the scene, they had to aggressively attack the fire to get the victims out and extinguish it. 2 people died, 1 person has life-threatening injuries, and 3 have minor injuries. Austin Fire says their crews are working even in the freezing weather and icy conditions to get to urgent calls like this one.
This is what we do. We're here for the citizens, the community. We have firefighters and, of course, the other agencies, our police officers, Austin Travis County EMS. They are working tirelessly to try to serve the citizens in any ways they can. Our firefighters have worked for days, some of them, to ensure that we have the staffing, as it is difficult for some of our folks to get into work.
AFD has been responding to hundreds of calls this week. One common call, people trying to start fires inside their homes to stay warm. And they understand it's cold, especially if you have a power outage. But they're saying if you start a fire inside your home to stay warm, that is very dangerous. And they are suggesting to go to one of the city's warming shelters. Terry, Brian, back to you.
That situation there tonight, Mari Salazar, live in East Austin. Thank you.
It's heartbreaking. More warming centers are opening up for those seeking shelter from the cold today. Austin ISD opening up 2 additional warming centers for families near Jocelyn Elementary and Barrington Elementary. That's in addition to the Lee Elementary School shelter and the Murchison Middle School warming center. Those are already open. The Austin Disaster Relief Network also has 7 area churches open for individuals and families in need during these difficult times. You can find the complete list at our website, KVUE.com. KVUE.com.
Since midnight this past night, since 12:01 a.m. this morning, 6,000 megawatts have been added to the Texas grid. That equals about power for about 1.2 million households.
Help is on the way to Texans suffering through this brutal winter storm. Governor Greg Abbott says power companies are firing up coal and nuclear plants and plan to deliver hundreds of thousands of megawatts of energy in the next 24 hours. That is enough to power at least 2 million homes. The federal government also lending a hand, sending supplies like generators, fuel, and water to Texas.
Meantime, the situation growing more dire in Central Texas. Roughly several 100,000 people are without power in the Austin area and the surrounding communities in Austin. That includes St. David's South Austin Medical Center. Tonight, staff members there are being told to use biohazard bags as toilets. Senior reporter Tony Plahetsky joins us now live from his home with the very latest. Boy, that's difficult to hear, Tony.
Yeah, Brian and Terry, we are still awaiting on a statement from the hospital. In just a short time, we're told that they should be getting us some additional information about what exactly is going on there. Brian and Terry, we're really dealing with two things right now. There is the power issue and there is the increasing water issue. And city officials told me just a short time ago that the city of Austin is teetering right now with the possibility of having to issue a boil water notice for the entire city. But first, with regard to power, I do want to tell you that the good news, if there is any in all of this, is that more people have power right now in the city of Austin on the Austin Energy Network than they did on Monday, than they did on Tuesday. But Austin Energy officials warning that that power may not be with you through the night and through tomorrow. It depends on what ERCOT tells them they must do. Again, with regard to water, City of Austin officials are saying now, please discontinue dripping your faucet. You no longer need to do that, and they're afraid that doing so is straining the system. They are also responding to a number of water main breaks throughout the city, saying that this is now a system-wide issue for Austin Water Utility. We've been talking to people all day today throughout the city who are both grappling with a loss of power and a loss of water, in some cases dealing with both, and you can imagine the frustration remains high.
It's been a highly emotional few days between the power and this. Because last night we got around 9:15, we got a notice, your power's back on. And we're sitting here in the cold and the dark going, no, it's not. You know.
Yesterday, I began shivering, and I got scared. I got worried. You know, that survival.
How do you provide for your family? You can't. I mean, we can't do it in a healthy way.
Again, the frustration continuing to mount, not only here in Austin, but throughout the state. I do want to tell you that the general manager for Austin Energy earlier this afternoon said that crews are facing aggression from Austin residents as they go out to try to restore power. In some cases, they have been taunted. They have had things thrown at them, according to the GM of Austin Energy. Officials are asking to please don't approach these Austin Energy crews who are only trying to do their job. And last but not least, I also want to share with you that the names and bios of the board members of ERCOT this afternoon, as of this afternoon, have been stripped off the ERCOT website after officials said they were receiving threats. So again, underscoring the amount of frustration and growing desperation that's out there.
Senior reporter Tony Plahetsky with a lot of news to update us today. Tony, thank you very much for that report. How about this? Austin firefighters say they're having a hard time keeping up with all the calls for broken water pipes in the city. More than 500 reported yesterday alone, including this apartment complex at the Domain. City leaders say the burst pipes are contributing to extraordinary water usage of up to 3 million gallons a day.
And that will only continue in the days ahead. We know so many of you are still without food and power, and maybe even searching for food and supplies. KVUE's keeping a running list of the grocery stores and general stores that are open despite the winter weather.
Investigative reporter Brad Stryker has more on the locations we've confirmed so far.
Sub-freezing temperatures and icy roads have forced store closures across the Austin area, including this H-E-B on 7th Street in East Austin. While some people round out day 3 with no power, we've put together a list of the stores in the Austin area where you can stock up on food and supplies if you need it. Here are just some of the stores we've confirmed were open earlier today. H-E-B opened several stores from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. and Central Market was open today on the South Lamar location from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Walmart also had several stores open today, and Target's online store locator lists several locations open, most of them until 10 o'clock tonight. And finally, Wheatsville Co-op has a location open from 12 p.m. until 10 p.m. But know this before you go. You could see long lines at some of these spots. This is the H-E-B in the Mueller neighborhood. We saw long lines today for the second day in a row at this location. We put the full list of open stores on our website. You can go there to keep updated with the places that we found that will stay open. Just go to KVUE.com and click on this story. In Austin, for the KVUE Defenders, I'm Brad Stryker.
News a lot of people want to hear. Brad, thank you. Still ahead here on KVUE News at 6 on this Wednesday night. Texas Governor Greg Abbott placing a large part of the blame on the energy crisis on clean energy in Texas. Our Verified team digs into the claim to find out if it's true.
And later, with power still out to millions across the state, some are wondering if top state officials are right for the job. Governor Greg Abbott says solar and wind energy greatly contributed to the power crisis in Texas. But is that true? Reporter Erica Proffer has your Verify.
We want answers, all of us. Why are we without power? Why has it lasted so many days? Governor Greg Abbott told Fox News this shows how the Green New Deal would be a deadly deal for the United States of America. And he said put Texas in a situation where it was lacking power in a statewide basis. Part of the Green New Deal is a global effort to lower carbon emissions through using renewable energy like solar and wind. So let's verify. Are wind and solar units to blame for the power crisis? To see how solar and wind impacted the power crisis in Texas, we pulled information from Jesse Jenkins. He's an industry expert and professor from Princeton who focuses on electricity. We got info from the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, ERCOT. They're in control of the power grid. And the governor himself. We looked at what he said on social media. Jenkins said on Twitter, many generators of power remained offline as freeze-offs plus fuel shortages in gas pipelines forced large numbers of natural gas plants offline. Quote, the breakdown of thermal outages by fuel type is unclear.
What happened is we had this tremendous storm. We saw the demand for electricity spike way beyond what we've ever seen in the winter months in Texas. Usually summer is when we use the most electricity. And that storm that was spiking that demand also brought the generation down because of the issues that folks had for various reasons with all different kinds of generation resources.
The governor himself noted fault with using fossil fuels. His Twitter account shows the ability of some companies to generate the power has been frozen. This includes the natural gas and coal generators. So are solar and wind units to blame for the power crisis? We go with false. What we found is the blame can be shared among everyone. With your verifying KVUE defenders, I'm Erica Proffer, KVUE News.
Erica, thank you very much for that. From one Erica to another, we're talking about our forecast now, and the last of these waves of storms and icy weather is tonight into tomorrow, right, Erica?
Mm-hmm. Last round of precipitation with the cold temperatures, allowing us to see some more snowfall accumulation. So we're adding on top of the ice and the layers of snow that we're already seeing, and it's going to keep the roads very dangerous also. Here's a look at your current temperatures. We have not budged above freezing quite at all throughout today across the viewing area. Upper 20s, low 30s. The only exceptions I have seen, San Marcos at 33, but we're getting cooler for the night from now. LaGrange, you're still at 33 as well. So hourly temperatures will gradually cool down. Not as cold as where we've been the last couple of nights, but we will drop to the 20s. Here's a look at that 20% chance of precipitation increasing to a 40% chance of precipitation. That's because we're still under a winter storm warning and a winter weather advisory. The advisory, so the warning has been lessened to an advisory by the National Weather Service, and that's because we're not expecting accumulation as great as where we were previously anticipating, but snowfall of up to 1 to 3 inches is possible for parts of the hill country and south of Austin, although I think we'll easily pick up an inch of snow, if not a dusting of snow across central Texas. Let's walk you through the timeline. So this is late tonight. I think we're going to see, if not some freezing rain, then transitioning to some snow flurries moving in for parts of the hill country. That's going to approach I-35 overnight tonight, become a little bit more widespread. Notice most of the snow will be on the lighter side. I think the heaviest accumulation will be south of Austin, technically south of our viewing area, more so towards the San Antonio region, and then it tapers off by late Thursday night. So we have a good solid day that we're still going to see that frozen precipitation before temperatures are able to thaw out. So a dusting of snow possible, up to 1 inch possible. Isolated areas across the viewing area up to 2 inches. We cannot rule it out. If not, isolated spots will see greater. So it's something we'll be monitoring through the overnight hours into tomorrow. This is the last round, and then we get a solid break from winter weather. Here's a look at it clearing out, and then skies even clear out, eventually leading us to sunshine for Friday. Computer models have trended slightly cooler for Friday. I think we'll struggle to make it to the 40s, but we will definitely get to above freezing by Friday afternoon, helping thaw out the roads, finally melting a lot of this ice and snow. By this weekend, I think roads will be way better out there to have some safer commutes, to be able to kind of clean up and rebuild and try to get back to some type of normalcy. Your 7-day forecast showing a warming trend. We actually stay in the 50s and 60s with plenty of sunshine through the majority of next week. We'll be back coming up after the break.
Southwest Kia. And did you know we're an award-winning President's Club dealer? What does that mean? It means not only are we one of the highest volume dealers in the nation, we also have some of the highest customer satisfaction scores in the nation. And how do we do that? With our non-commissioned sales team. The price you see online is the price you pay, and we offer a 7-day exchange policy. At Southwest Kia, check out the all-new Kia Telluride, over 30 to choose, or the completely redesigned 2021 Kia Sorento. Find your Kia at Southwest Kia, southwestkia.com.
This energy crisis has some questioning if Texas top officials are up to the task of leading the state.
Here's political anchor Ashley Godot and the Texas Tribune's Ross Ramsey.
Tell us a little bit about your perspective on what's happening right now. There seems to be a lot of finger pointing.
Well, we've got two things going on. We've got the obvious thing, which is a weather system that has caused an electrical crisis and a bunch of people dealing with that. And then a bunch of politicians who are trying to figure out who to blame, partly so that they don't themselves take the blame. And the people at the top are having a hard time with this crisis in particular, but you have to remember they were having a hard time with crises before this. You know, Governor Abbott has been up and down again with the pandemic. The rollout of vaccines has been haphazard. They've got a lot of people wondering, I think, you know, and I'm one of them, whether they're up to the job. A lot of this is, you know, a regulatory system that Texas settled on. The legislature actually sets all of the parameters for this back at the beginning, and the PUCs and the ERCOTs and everybody else just implements what the legislature does. They deregulated markets and they said, look, we're going to have momentary blips like the one that we're in, but the trade-off is lower prices most of the year and reliable power most of the time. And Texas has stayed with ERCOT for most of the state. It's completely enclosed within Texas. So the electricity grid here is not subject to federal law. And that's been a big thing with state leaders, you know, going years and years back.
Do you think there will be an appetite in the legislature to change this and to connect to those other grids?
You know, it didn't happen after 2011 and it didn't happen after 1989. And, you know, Texas has that independent streak, particularly in its government. And I really don't see that changing. But I do think there's probably going to be a post-operations report here that gets to more than just what went wrong at ERCOT. There's a lot to be asked about, you know, why is so much natural gas generation offline? Why or how should we change natural gas pipelines and things so that they don't freeze up? Why do we have a nuclear reactor offline in South Texas? All of those kinds of questions are going to be answered. I think this is going to be a long unwinding.
Ross Ramsey, Ashley Godot, thank you both for that. Before we head to break today at 6, a look at some incredible images from all around. Look at this. All around Central Texas during this winter. That one I just cannot believe. We'll be back with a final check of your forecast after this. KVUE newsroom. They have lost water pressure today. They have 300 patients there, and they have teams now in the facility working to get those patients to other locations around the city. We're going to follow this story and bring you updates as we learn them on the air and online.
We're hearing that includes St. David's South Austin Medical Center tonight. We'll have more tonight.